Hey, shalom, shalom, most high in Christ. Bless. Hey, it's your brother, Officer Eliakim with IUIC Kansas City, back again with another class for you. All right, another one for you. Hey, this one, I'm actually excited about this one because, you know, I've been writing this for about 2 weeks, and it just flows with the time. All right, when you pay attention to the signs of the time, you see what's going on. So with that, you got to know what's coming. You got to be prepared for what's coming your way. All right, hey, show that thumbnail real quick. Show the thumbnail of what we covering today. It says, from Cain to Esau, the art of war. All right, shout out to our IT team, the media team, for creating this thumbnail, bro. That's fire right there. Hey, play the other one. Yes, sir. Ooh, that's fire. Play that. Hey, that's some good stuff right there, bro. That's some good stuff. From Cain to Esau, the art of war. All praise. So, hey, go ahead and show some of the thumbnails from the classes this past weekend. All right, because, hey, shout out to the leadership. Shout out to the bishops, the deacons, the captains. Hey, there's a lot of fire classes came out this past Sabbath dealing with this same, dealing with the same vein of topic. All right, dealing with war. All right, you had Captain Amaziah, Captain Shemaiah, you had Deacon Malachiah, and you had Deacon Yahshua. Hey, I was a little bit nervous watching these classes because I was thinking that they was going to cover everything that I was going to cover today. But all praise to the Most High. What I'm about to bring out, it goes right along with the deacons and the captains, what they was bringing out. All right? It goes right along with it. Just adds another layer to what they was talking about. All praise to the Most High God. All right? So, hey, let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right? First, pull up that definition of warmonger. What is a warmonger? We've heard these terms before, but let's see what a warmonger is. Read that for me.
Warmonger, a person who encourages or advocates aggression towards other countries or groups.
All right, shout out to my reader. We got Officer Mordecai reading today. Hey, turn his mic up just a little bit. All right, read that one more time.
Warmonger, a person who encourages or advocates aggression towards other countries or groups.
It says encourages or advocates, meaning these people love war. They love aggression. All right, so now let's see. We got to ask ourselves, who does this fit today? Who is a person that loves aggression towards another country, towards another race of people? All right, let's get right into it. Genesis chapter 27, and let's read verse 38 through 41.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
So the first part of his blessing is Esau is going to dwell in the fatness of the earth, meaning the most beautiful places of the earth, the places with the most resources. This is where Esau is going to dwell. But watch this, read.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
Come on.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
It says, by thy sword shalt thou live. So how is he going to get the fatness of the earth? He's going to take it with his sword. These places that have the most resources, these places that have the most beautiful lands, how is Esau going to get these things? By war, by taking them with the sword. All right, so now we got to ask ourselves, why do they love aggression towards these other people or these other countries? Is because they was blessed with the art of war. Read.
And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
It says, we have dominion, shall break the yoke up off his neck. All right, so now, do I want the next verse yet? No, I don't want verse. Yeah, read verse 41.
Verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
Now, keep that in mind. That's going to be very, very important as we go throughout the rest of this class. It says Esau hated Jacob. He hated Jacob. Why? Because Jacob got the blessing that he was going to be the one that rules everything in the end. And Esau did not like that. He thought that Jacob stole his blessing, but it was preordained from the very beginning for Jacob to have that blessing. All right, from there, let's jump to Genesis 25. Let's explain. Let's go into scriptures and show why Esau hated Jacob. Jump up to verse 15.
Verse 15. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son.
So this is Jacob. Rebekah took some of Esau's clothes and put it on Jacob. And we're going to see why. Read.
And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck.
Why? Because when you read how Jacob Esau was born, it said Esau was a hairy man. So what did she take? She took the hairs from the kids, which are goats, baby goats, and put it upon Jacob, making him more hairy. All right, why is she doing this? Because how it was supposed to go, the oldest kid was supposed to get the blessing from the father. All right, and that would have made Esau get the blessing from Isaac. But that was not what was ordained from the very beginning. All right, read.
Verse 17. And she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because the Lord thy God brought it to me.
Read.
And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not.
See, because like I said, Esau was a hairy man. So Isaac was like, hold on, come closer. Let me see if you that hairy kid of mine, because he knew his kids. Read.
And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, Thy voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau.
He said, you got the voice of my son Jacob, but you got the hairy hands of my son Esau. Read.
And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands.
So now at this point, Isaac's eyes was a little dim, so he couldn't see clearly to see which kid it was. All right, but he said he couldn't tell between the two. Read.
So he blessed him.
And because of that, he gave Jacob the blessing of Esau. All right, and because of this, Esau was very wroth with Jacob. All right, but like I said, this was ordained from the very beginning for Jacob to get that blessing and not Esau. All right, from there, let's go to Genesis chapter 25. Let's read verse 21.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 21.
Come on.
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her.
So this is important also. It says the children struggled together. Read.
And she said, If it be so, why am I thus?
If this is of the Lord, why are these kids struggling within my womb? Read.
And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Come on.
And the Lord said, And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
It said 2 nations, meaning 2 different type of people. All right, they're going to have different characteristics. They're going to have different traditions. They're going to have different outlooks on life. Read.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Come on.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And the elder shall serve the younger.
It says the elder shall serve the younger. All right, the elder shall serve the younger. So this is something that Rebekah already knew. She knew the first child would have to serve the second child. Read.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
Come on.
And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
They called his name Esau, red and hairy. This was the first child. So this is why Jacob covered himself in the goat's fur, the goat's hair. Read.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
And his hand took hold of Esau's heel. So what you want to see there, these are 2 different nations of people. One's going to be stronger than the other, and one's going to have to serve the other. All right, so this is going to play a very important role to why Esau hated Jacob. All right, now from there, let's go to Genesis. What do I want next? It said Genesis 27. Let's go back there one more time. Read verse 41.
Genesis chapter 27 and verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
It said because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. Where's the verse that said he was a cunning hunter?
It's in 25, sir.
Genesis 25.
Verse 30.
Yeah, read verse 30.
I got you, 27, sir. Sorry. Genesis 25:27.
Yep.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
It says Esau was a cunning hunter. So now let's think about this. Esau is a cunning hunter, and then when you read Genesis 27, he's blessed with the art of war. All these two play hand in hand together. All right. So now you wonder why the so-called white man out there always in Africa killing random animals for no reason just to put in their trophy room. Because the Bible says they were a cunning hunter and they love killing stuff. They're warmongers. All right. From there, let's go to Job chapter 9, verse 24. Who are the warmongers today that love oppressing everybody, that loves the art of war or aggression towards other people? Read.
The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
So it said he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. How does he do that? By oppressing people. He oppresses people out of their heritage. He bombs and destroys other countries to where they forget who they are. He takes away their heritage and put people there in place that's going to follow his will. This is what this man does today. Who's ruling the earth today? The so-called white man, or the Bible calls him Esau. All right, from there, go to Isaiah 14. Let's read 4 through 8.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 4.
Come on.
That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
The king of Babylon is dealing with Esau. Read.
And say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke.
It said this man smote the people of the earth with a continual stroke. Because this man is always bombing somebody. There has never been a history in time since the atom bomb was created that Esau has not been bombing somebody. At any point in time, they're bombing at least 7 countries at a time. All right, it said during the Obama administration, they dropped over 16,000 bombs, and that might be lowballing it. All right, at this point right now, there's not a point in time in history where they have not been at war with somebody.
Right.
Read.
Verse 6. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger.
You see that? He ruled the nations in anger. Who is ruling these nations in anger? The so-called white man. The Bible calls him Esau. This is the man that's ruling this nation with anger. And we're going to show you why this man's ruling his nations with anger. But later on in the class, read through 8.
I'm sorry. Is persecuted and none hindereth.
None hindereth, because nobody has the power to stop the so-called white man. Nobody has the technology to stop the so-called white man from what he's doing. And they just proved that with Venezuela. Because where did they get their technology from? China. They got it from Russia. And what did America do? Show that these technologies that people think is equal to Esau's technology, they can't do nothing with them. That's what's going on right now. Nobody hinders this man from ruling this world in anger. Read.
Verse 7. The whole earth is at rest.
Come on.
And is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us.
Hey, and if you was paying attention to Deacon Yahshua's class, he brought out a heavy point about this verse. All right, when it says no feller, a feller is a person that chops trees down. All right, so what this is saying, the nations is going to rejoice when the so-called white man is wiped off the face of the earth.
Right.
More particularly us. We are going to rejoice when the so-called white man is eradicated off the face of the earth. All right, from there, let's go to read verse 10.
Isaiah 14 and 10. And they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we?
Why? Because he's the one that's continually striking the earth. He's the one that's continually bombing other nations. So now when the thing flips on him, the other nation's going to look, hold on, how are you weak like us? How is your technology no longer working? How are your bombs no longer effective? Read.
Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave.
Their pride is going to be brought down to the grave. Who is the most prideful man on earth today? The so-called white man. The Bible calls them Esau. Read.
And the noise of thy vials. The worm is prepared under thee.
Read.
And the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
How are you falling from your high space, O Lucifer? Or light bearer is what the word means. How are you falling from the top seat that you've had? How? Read.
Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
How did he weaken the nations? By bombing them. When you look at bombs like in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when they bombed these countries, when they dropped the fat man and little boy, this is how they weakened the nations, because before then, nobody was dropping atomic bombs. Nobody was bombing anywhere else before Esau bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right, that's what was going on. We're going to read through verse 16.
For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
It said in the sides of the north, they're going to sit on the mountain of the congregation. All this is going into Esau and how he exhorts himself, how he tries to be the one that travels to space. He tries to play God. This is what the so-called white man does. He puts himself in the position of God so he can try to play God. All right? That's why he's traveling to space. That's why he's dropping and creating atomic bombs. He wants to be God.
Right.
All right? From there, let's go to
18, you said?
Verse 16. Did you read that?
No, sir.
Read 16.
Verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms?
How did they shake kingdoms? Like we said, in 1945, when they bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima. All right, this is how they weakened the nations. This is how they shook kingdoms, made people to tremble, because before that, they haven't seen a power like that in the earth before. All right. All right, now, where did Esau get these weapons from? Where did they learn to make weapons? All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 4. This was brought out in the class, but let's recap right now, because it's setting the stage for everything else that's going to come out in this class right now. All right, what we're going over today is the war tactics of Esau. All right, in order to go over the war tactics, we first have to explain why they have this mindset of war. All right, read that, Genesis chapter 4. And I don't want to read all of it. Start at verse 17.
Genesis chapter 4.
No, start earlier than that. I'm sorry. Start at verse 4.
Verse 4?
Yep, 4 and 4.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 4. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
So the Lord had respect unto Abel because he bought the right offerings unto the Lord. What the Lord asked him to bring, Abel bought that thing. Read.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
Come on.
And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
So now it says Cain was very wroth or angry, like we just read somewhere else. It said, and his countenance fell. Meaning he showed it. He couldn't hide that thing at all. He was very visible that Cain was angry because he did the wrong thing. Watch this, read.
And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted?
The Lord said, listen, if you would have bought the right sacrifices, would they have not been accepted? Read.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
Read.
And unto thee shall be his desire.
It says, sin lieth at the door, and to Satan shall be your desire. This is what the Lord told Cain because of his mindset. He was very wroth, and he was holding on to that anger. Read.
And thou shalt rule over him.
And Satan is going to rule over you. Read.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
So now, because Cain did the wrong thing and bought the wrong offering, his countenance fell. He was very angry. And what did he do in his anger? He killed Abel. He killed righteous Abel because of Cain's misdoing. Because of Cain's sin, because that desire unto Satan made him kill his brother. Read.
And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother?
Come on.
And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
He had no accountability for what he did. He said, am I my brother's keeper? Read.
And he said, what hast thou done?
The
voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
Come on.
And now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand.
He said, now you curse from the earth. Now I'm pulling all the things from you. What is one of the things he pulled from him? His melanin. And that's going to play a key role later on, because the same spirit that Cain has, Esau has. And it's a reason behind that. Read.
When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
So, hold on. It says, a fugitive and a vagabond shall you be in all the earth. Meaning, everywhere you go, everywhere you dwell, is not yours. Come on. How are you going to get these places that you are dwelling in? By war. By the blessing that was given to Esau. So now, because you have the art of the war, the Lord already said that Esau's blessing is he's going to dwell in the fatness of the earth. But all these places he dwelt are not his place. Even from Mount Seir, he stole that from somebody else. So what this is telling you, people that's going around the earth today that's living in these different lands, calling themselves by the names of these lands, they're fugitives and vagabonds. They don't belong in these lands. All right, read.
And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto him.
Stop right, that's good right there. So it says he's going to be a fugitive and a vagabond throughout all the earth. So now, let's think about this. So because Cain was wroth and angry because of his own evil doings, he got mad and killed his brother. He wasn't able to actually correct himself and fix his mindset. It forces him to add sin to sin by now killing his brother out of his anger. So now, when Cain doesn't fix that within himself, this type of anger and hatred passes down through his lineage. And let's see what his kids did. Read verse 17.
Verse 17. And Cain knew his wife.
Come on.
And she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch.
So now Cain had kids, right? Read verse 22.
Verse 22. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron.
It says now he had Tubal Cain. And Tubal Cain, what did he create? Weapons. He was an artificer of brass and iron. This is also something that Deke brought out in his class, but we're going to add more to it. I want you to also jump up to verse, where's it at? Read verse 21.
Verse 21. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ.
So now Jubal was a person that dealt with music. What has our kids killing each other in the world today? Music. So now let's think about this. Cain, who killed his brother in anger and wrath, his kids now handle music and weapons. Music and weapons. If you think about the black community today, what is the leading causes of our kids killing each other? Music and weapons. Who did that come from? The line of Cain. Now let's get this definition of artificer.
Artificer, a skilled craftsman or inventor.
A skilled craftsman or inventor. What did they invent? Weapons. All right, they invented weapons. All right, now let's go to Daniel chapter 7 and let's read 20 through 23. Why? What are we dealing with now? Weapons. And now Esau. Esau has the art of, he has the blessing of war, and in order to be blessed with war, you need to know how to use weapons, right? Watch this. Daniel chapter 7, verse 20.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up.
The other which came up was the United States. Read.
And before whom 3 fell.
Who was the 3 that fell? You had France, you had Spain, and you had Great Britain. These are all the people America fought to gain their independence. Read.
And before whom 3 fell.
Come on.
Even of that horn that had eyes.
The horn that had eyes. Now, what is the eyes? It's talking about vision. Vision in the future to create weapons, as they call it, of mass destruction. They had vision to start to create weapons more and more advanced than anybody else. Why? Because their lineage created weapons and they were blessed with the art of war. Watch this, read.
And a mouth that spake very great things.
What is his mouth? Their media. Their media spoke very great things. And we're going to get in that to a little bit later. Yeah, you can put that up. Their media is going to speak great things. And what are these great things? To destroy the children of Israel. And who owns most of these media stations? The so-called Jewish, the fake people, the pretenders, the imposters, the ones who's pretending to be us. All right, read.
Whose look was more stout than his fellows.
Come on.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints.
That same horn made war with the saints. Why does the same horn make war with the saints? Because we read in Genesis, there will be two different nations of people. And one of these nations of people is going to love conflicts with other nations. One of these nations of people is going to be blessed with the art of war. Read.
And prevailed against them.
Come on.
Until the Ancient of Days came.
And it says they're going to prevail against us until the Ancient of Days is going to come. So they're going to be oppressing us and wearing us out with war until the Ancient of Days comes. Read to verse 23.
And judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom.
So what's going to end up happening at the end, like we read in Genesis, the elder shall serve the younger. There's going to come a time in history where things are flipped, when we are starting to rule the earth like we're supposed to. And it says, and when the Ancient of Days come, that's when that thing is going to happen. And judgment is going to be given to us to wear out all these other nations. Read.
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth.
It says this fourth beast, or the United States, is going to devour the whole earth. All right, so who has been ruling this whole earth since the times of the Greeks, since the times of the Romans? The so-called white man. These are the ones that's devouring the whole earth. They have dominion everywhere. There's no nation that can come against the United States right now. All right. So now from there, let's go to Revelations chapter 11 and verse 13. We already, Revelations 13, 11 through 13. Yeah. We already read Job 9:24 that says the whole earth was given to this man. But watch this. Read that.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 11.
Come on.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
So this is saying the exact same thing that Daniel just said. Read.
And he had two horns like a lamb.
What are these two horns? They're the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. These are the two horns that he uses. Read.
And he spake as a dragon.
Why? How did he speak as a dragon? Read the verse again one more time.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
Come on.
And he had two horns like a lamb.
What is the lamb? He's coming with his Christianity. He's coming with these peaceable words, claiming to be the people of God. But what is he using? His democracy and his Republican parties. Read.
And he spake as a dragon.
What does it mean, spake like a dragon? He spake like a demon, because everywhere he go, he was bombing. He was destroying these other nations. He come in peaceably, but he had war in his heart.
Right.
Read.
And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast.
To worship Caesar Borgia, or to worship the image of the beast, the so-called white man. Read.
Whose deadly wound was healed.
Whose deadly wound was healed? Had this deadly wound? It was Rome. All right. America came in the same ideologies of Rome. They set their government up like Rome. Read.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven.
Didn't we already read that when they bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki? He made fire, or the atomic bomb, come down from heaven. All right. Oppenheimer said, I fear that I have become the destroyer of worlds. What destroys worlds? Nuclear power, atomic bombs. This is what destroys worlds, to where now there's no semblance of what it was before. You can't go back to normal once an atomic bomb is dropped. All right. From there, let's go to Isaiah 54:16. Like I said, some of these scriptures, they're just a refresher. But we have to keep these things on our mind to know what the Bible said and know who our enemies are, because a lot of us get comfortable in this society and we forget who our enemies are. We say that, oh, it's not all of them, it's just a few. No, they all have that mindset, because if that's the case, all of us would not be in captivity. Think about it. There were some people during the time of Moses that was keeping the commandments. Now, granted, the Bible says no man's perfect, but we weren't all going off into idolatry the way that the most of the nation was. All right, some of us was actually fighting to keep the commandments, and whereas some of us was doing it willfully. All right, read that.
Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 16.
Come on.
Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
An instrument for his work. What is his work? To destroy this world. All right. From there, let's go to Psalms chapter 91. Let's read 5 through 7. So now what we going into, what is it, this thing that has who fits this definition of a warmonger? Who is the one that's going around oppressing all the nations, smiting the world with a continual stroke, as we read earlier? Watch this, read.
Psalm 91, what verse?
Psalms 91, 5 through 7.
The book of Psalm, chapter 91 and verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
So when our forefathers was writing these books, they had to use things that they were familiar with. They didn't know what an atomic bomb was back at that time. So when the Lord showed them this, the closest thing they could compare it to was an arrow. All right, it says the arrow that flieth by day. How do we know this is not just an ordinary arrow? Watch, it's going to explain. Read.
Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness.
All this is describing war, an arrow that flies in the day, and a pestilence or a disease that goeth on in darkness. We're going to touch on that later. Read.
Nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
We just read about the waster that is coming to fulfill the duties that the Lord has sent it for. Watch this. Read.
1,000 shall fall at thy side.
So now, does one arrow have the power to make 1,000 fall in one side? Read.
And 10,000 at thy right hand.
And 10,000 at thy right hand? No. One little single arrow, as our forefathers saw it back then or compared it to, does not have the power to do that. What does an atomic bomb? A nuclear bomb. That's what has the power to make 1,000 fall on one side and 10,000 fall on the other side. Read.
But it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold.
But it says it shall not come nigh thee. All right, from there, let's go to, we already read Isaiah 14. Let's go to Ezekiel 35, and let's read verse 5. Ezekiel 35. So now what we're touching on, who fits these characteristics of a warmonger? Who's the one that's continually stroking? It says a person that encourages or advocates aggression. Who fits this definition? Read.
Ezekiel 35 verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
It says this man has a perpetual hatred. I wonder where that started from. We gonna touch on it. Read.
And has shed the blood of the children of Israel.
Who's shedding the blood of the children of Israel? With a perpetual hatred. Perpetual means it continues to happen over and over. Something that has not been alleviated. No, this hatred is strong. It's everlasting. Read it one more time.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword.
By the force of the sword or war. It says this man has a perpetual hatred and they're shedding our blood with war. Now, go back to Daniel 7 verse 25. Let's read that.
Daniel 7 and 25.
Come on.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Come on.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
He said this man, as we just read earlier in Daniel chapter 7, it said this man, who is this man? The United States, the so-called white man. He said he's going to wear out the saints. Who are the saints? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites. Read.
And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
It says this man was going to wear out the saints. How is he wearing us out? If you look at the world today, where's all the places that Trump is bombing right now or trying to take over? You got Venezuela. Those are Israelites. You got Mexico. Those are Israelites. This man said in the Don Road doctrine, he's trying to take over the Western Hemisphere. Who dwells predominantly in the Western Hemisphere? The Israelites. We think of Central, North, and South America. Those are our people who is getting worn out by war. Every country that we live in, this man is bombing. All right, he's wearing out the saints with his art of war and that perpetual hatred that he has. So now, let's go to the different types of warfare. Let's pull that up. And let's read that.
Types of warfare vary widely, encompassing traditional state versus state conflict, conventional, non-state actor fights, irregular/guerrilla, and modern domains like cyber, economic, and psychological warfare.
It says cyber, economic, and psychological warfare. So now let's go down. Go down. Read the first one.
Conventional warfare, state-on-state conflict.
So now let's deal with that. It says conventional warfare, state-on-state conflict. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's read 49 through 50.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 49.
Come on.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies.
So it says this man is going to come against the Israelites from one end of earth as swift as the eagle flies. Whose symbol is the eagle? The so-called white man. And it has been that all throughout history. When you look at Rome, when you look at Greece, modern America, modern day America today, their symbol is the eagle. Read.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Come on.
A nation of fierce countenance.
Why would they be a nation of fierce countenance? Because of their military might. Read.
Which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
So they're not going to care who they're killing. If you look at this man today, they're bombing everybody. They're bombing men, they're bombing women, and they're bombing children. This is what this man is doing. It says they will have no regard for any of them. When you look at Black Wall Street, when you look at how there was men, there was women, there was kids that they were bombing in these places. When you look at Rosewood, when you look at places like Lake Lanier, these are what this is the characteristics of this man. He doesn't care if you're old or young. He is going to kill you because he has a perpetual hatred. Read.
Verse 50. A nation.
That's all I wanted in verse. Read verse 50 again.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
So now let's look at that in history. To go to 2 Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 1. It said they won't show favor to the young or to the old. Let's read that. 2 Maccabees 7 and verse 1.
2 Maccabees chapter 7, verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips.
It said he's tormented them with scourges and whips. So sisters, y'all not going to escape. This man does not care who he kills. All right, he took a mother and her sons, tormented them. He tormented all this woman's kids right in front of her face, saved her for last, and then killed her. This man does not care. But why? Because he hates you. He has a perpetual hatred against the children of Israel. We read that already. All right. From there, let's go to Luke chapter 21, 20 through 24. These tactics this man has been using since the beginning. All right. When we're talking about right now, conventional warfare, meaning person against person, state against state, hand-to-hand combat. Let's read that.
Luke chapter 21, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
Compassed with what?
With armies.
Come on.
Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
It says when you see Jerusalem compassed with these Roman armies, it is going to be destroyed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no partial destroyment. No, he said they are going to destroy it because that's what this man does. He has the art of war and he is good at destroying, especially where the children of Israel dwell. Read.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too.
It said if you already in the countries, you need to leave. But if you outside already, don't come back. Why? Because this person does not regard the young or the old, the man or the woman. He's going to kill every single person. So if you're coming back, you will get destroyed. Read.
For these be the days of vengeance.
Come on.
That all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
You see that? The young and the old. Again, this man does not care. He's going to kill the young and the old. The child that's still breastfeeding, that child's going to get killed too, because that's what this man does. Read.
For there shall be great distress in the land.
Come on.
And wrath upon this people.
Read.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
They shall fall by war. Read.
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
So what else comes with war? Prisoners of war. Read.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
Who the Gentiles? The so-called white man, Esau. At this time, it's talking about Rome. Jerusalem's going to be trodden down of the Romans. Read.
Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Meaning there's a certain time where their fullness of sins is going to reach the heavens, and the Lord is going to say, you know what? Now it's time. But right now, we're going to be worn out by this nation, by this man that's blessed with the art of war. All right, from there, let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 16. Let's read 70 and 72. 70 through 72.
2 Ezra 16, verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
What is an insurrection? This is talking about war. This is going into them making war with the saints. A great insurrection in every city that we dwell in. Read.
They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord.
So we already read about this in Rome, but this is back in history where it said this is going to happen. So if this is prophesied hundreds of thousands of years ago, and the Lord said this is going to happen to us. It happened back then, and it's going to happen again today. Why? Because history repeats itself. The scripture says, my judgments are like a ring. And we're starting to see symbols of that today. When you got ICE going through cities, snatching people up and destroying them. When you got the National Guard getting deployed into cities. I just seen something today where Trump said he had 1,500 military forces ready to be deployed to these different cities domestically. Here in the United States, he's deploying the United States armies against United States citizens. Damn. So what times are we living in? What are you doing to prepare yourself for what's coming? Read.
Verse 72. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses.
This is what's going to happen. Read verse 73. I didn't have that, but I like that.
Verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen.
It says, then will you know who are God's chosen. Why? Because God's chosen, they're going to endure through this. Yeah, this is going to hurt. This is going to be a lot of people are going to be afflicted, but God said his chosen are going to endure through this. It has to happen for those who are sealed, those who God have chosen to prove themselves. Finish the verse.
And they shall be tried as the gold in the fire.
They shall be tried as gold in the fire. There's a reason why the Lord said in the fire. Because this man has the weapons of mass destruction. He has fire, the ability to bring fire down from heaven. All right. From there, let's go to First Maccabees. And let's think about that. He's done that to his own cities. Like I said, when you think of Black Wall Street, when you think about the MOVE movement in Philadelphia, they bombed their own lands to destroy us because of that perpetual hatred they have for the children of Israel. All right, First Maccabees chapter 2, 31 through 38.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 31. Now, when it was told the king's servant and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness.
What's the king's commandment? That all should leave their religion and be one nation. They should come under the laws and the religion of the Greek society at this time. But our forefathers, they say, you know what? We're not doing that.
Right.
We're not turning away from our law. And because of that, Esau was very wroth against them. Read.
Verse 32. They pursued after them with a great number, and having overtaken them, they encamped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day.
You see that? They made war against the saints on our Sabbath day because they had no regard for our laws. It said we were two different manner of people. We actually, as a nation, when we in our right mind, we care about the laws of God. That's how we live. That's how we breathe. That's how we do everything is by the laws of God. And our forefathers right here were fighting for the laws of God. But what did Esau do? They made war against us on our holy day. Read.
And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live.
It said, you know what? It's all good. If you come now and keep the commandment of the king, you're going to live. Read.
But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day.
I'm not turning from the left or the right to defame the commandments of the Lord. That's what our forefathers said. We not doing that thing. Read.
So then they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid.
Because we not defiling the Sabbath day. That was the mindset of our forefathers. We not defiling the Sabbath day. We're going to keep it no matter what you do to us. Read.
But said, let us die all in our innocency.
Let us die in our innocency, not turning to the king's commandment. Read.
Heaven and earth shall testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully.
You put us to death wrongly. Why were they doing that? Because of that perpetual hatred they had from the very beginning. From Cain and Esau, that perpetual hatred. Read.
So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people.
You see that? They killed our wives, our children, and our livestock. This is what this man does. He makes war, and when he does, he kills everything. All right? From there, let's go to Genesis chapter 27. Let's read. Let's go back there, read 40 through 42. Now let's see why.
Genesis chapter 27, verse 40.
Come on.
And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
You see that? You can't get past that. It said Esau hated Jacob. He hated Jacob. Now, let's read read verse, is that 42?
No, sir, that was 41.
All right, read verse 42.
Verse 42. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee.
See this man Esau comforts himself thinking about killing children of Israel, thinking about killing Jacob. This is what this man does. So there's going to be no end to him afflicting us as long as he's alive on this earth. That's what the Bible just said. This man comforts himself in killing us. So when you say things like, well, there's some good ones. No, the Bible says this man comforts himself in your destruction. And now we're going to look at, and throughout this class, we're going to look at some of the different ways he comforts himself in destroying you. It's not just all hand-to-hand combat. There's a lot of different ways this man comforts himself in destroying us. All right, that's the same spirit that Cain had. So now from there, go back to different types of warfare, and let's touch on the second one, irregular.
Different types of warfare: irregular, asymmetric warfare.
Read that.
Non-state actors or weaker states using unconventional methods against stronger ones.
Well, these are some of the examples. Read that.
Guerrilla tactics, terrorism, insurgency.
It says terrorism and insurgency. So now let's go and touch on some of the insurgency. All right, give me that first, give me the next article. Yep, let's play that.
It for the purposes of the Bureau and transmission to higher authority. Now, turning to COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is an abbreviation of the words Counterintelligence Program. COINTELPRO is the name for the effort by the Bureau to destroy people and to destroy organizations, or as they use the words, disrupt and neutralize.
You see that? It says disrupt and neutralize. This was an organization that they created to get counterintelligence or to break somebody down. Go back about 5 seconds to play it one more time.
Or as they use the words, disrupt and neutralize.
And in pursuit of this goal, FBI agents used a wide range of weapons, disseminating misinformation, creating animosities, and generally spreading havoc among the target groups.
You see that? Pause right there. It says the FBI uses tools to send out misinformation and to cause havoc. Go back. I'm sorry. Play it one more time. It's a lot in this clip. And I'm trying to catch all of it. It says they spread misinformation as a way to destabilize these organizations. Play it.
Creating misinformation, creating animosities, and generally spreading havoc among the target groups.
It says creating animosity between people. So let's think about this today. When you read the books like Willie Lynch letters, when they try to spread animosity between the light skins and the dark skins, the old and the young, these are things that they do to spread animosities in the black community. Amongst us, when they say black and brown people ain't the same, how we have that hatred from blacks and Hispanics when the only thing that's different is a boat stop. This is what they do. They spread misinformation amongst us. So we don't know who we are and that we continue to hate each other. All right? That's it on that. So now let's look at an example of that in history. Because there was one very famous one, Haman. Let's get Haman. Esther chapter 13. Let's start at Esther 13. We're going to read 1 through 6.
Esther, the rest of Esther, chapter 13, verse 1.
Come on.
The copy of the letters was this: the great king Artaxerxes writeth these things to the princes and governors that are under him from India unto Ethiopia, and in 127 provinces. After that I became Lord over many nations, and had dominion over the whole world.
So what is this? This is during the Persian Mede captivity. All right, the Persian and Mede captivity. It says they had dominion over the whole world. Read.
Not lifted up with presumption of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness. I purpose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable, and open for passage to the utmost coast, to renew peace, which is desired of all men. Now, when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, Haman, that excelled in wisdom among us.
So see this? This is one of King Artaxerxes' counselors. It said Haman was a man that excelled in wisdom and excelled in wisdom amongst us. Read.
And was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom.
And this man had the second highest seat in the kingdom. This Haman right here, because he excelled in wisdom. Read.
Declared unto us.
So now this is one thing the second man that in the Persian captivity declared unto King Artaxerxes. Read.
That in all nations throughout the whole world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations, and continually despised the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward.
You see that? This man spread misinformation, calling us a malicious people. What is he trying to do? Paint the narrative that we are evil and that we need to be eradicated. Read.
Seeing then, we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men.
So let's think about this. He said this people alone is in opposition to all men. But if you think about this, there was other kingdoms.
Come on.
There was other nations. They had laws that was different from Persian law at this time. But he said we alone was different from everybody else. We alone opposed everybody else. There's an agenda behind this. Read on.
Differing in the strange manner of their laws.
Come on.
And evil affected toward our state, working all mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
So let's think about this. The Lord told us that we are supposed to live peaceably amongst all men. So now this Haman is saying that we are opposing everybody. We're malicious. What's another word he said? He said that all working all mischief.
Evil affected.
Evil affected. Listen to the words this man is using, the narrative he's trying to paint about the children of Israel. There's a reason why he's doing this, and we're going to show you why. All right, now from there, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 15. We're going to read verse 2 and then 7 through 8. There's a reason why Haman is saying this stuff, and we're going to show you why right now.
1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 2. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel.
So now the Lord said he remembers what Amalek did to Israel. Now you may ask yourself, what does this have to do with Haman? Let's see. Read.
How he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go.
Why? Because Amalek was one of the first nations that came against us when we got out of Egypt. It said this man laid wait for us to make war against us, to destroy us. Read.
Now go and smite Amalek. Sorry.
Jump down. No, yeah, read that.
All right, verse 3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
The Lord told us to slay Amalek. Don't spare none of them. 7, verse 7.
Verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt.
Read.
And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
So now, this Agag of the Amalekites, let's see who this man is and who's in his lineage. Go back to the editions of Esther. Let's read chapter 16. We're going to read 12 through 14.
The rest of Esther, chapter 16, verse 12. But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceits sought of us the destruction, as well of Mordecai, who saved our life.
Who is this talking about? It's talking about Haman. Read.
Who saved our life and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom, with their whole nation. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom to the Persians, translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians.
So now, this man Haman was trying to translate the kingdom from the Persians to the Macedonians. Who are the Macedonians? Esau. So this man was in there with an ulterior motive. And what did he have to do? Try to get us, the children of Israel, out of the way. Why did he have so much hatred for the children of Israel? Let's go to Judah chapter 5, verse 20. We're going to come back. No, actually jump up to verse 10.
In Esther?
Yep.
The rest of Esther 16 and 10. For Ammon, a Macedonian, the son of Ammedatha.
So it says Ammon was a Macedonian, the son of Ammedatha. We just read, keep reading, it's going to say it.
Being indeed a stranger of the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness.
It says Haman was a stranger of the Persian blood, meaning he was not Persian. He was not Persian. Hold this, go back to us, 1 Samuel 15. Let's go back there real quick. 1 Samuel 15, and let's read verse read verse 7 again, 7 and 8.
1 Samuel 15, verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive.
So Haman came from the line of Agag. He was an Amalekite. He did not forget what happened to his forefathers. He did not forget how the children of Israel were killing his forefathers. Read what you got.
Esther, the rest of Esther, chapter 12, verse 6.
Come on.
Howbeit Ammon, the son of Ammedatha, the Agagite, who was in great honor with the king.
It said the Agagite. What is this? The sons of Agag.
Come on.
These are the sons of Agag. So Haman never forgot what happened to his forefathers. And because of that perpetual hatred, we read in Ezekiel 35, now he's trying to infiltrate the Persian captivity and put us to death. He's trying to use the ones that are in power at the time to put us to death. So what is he using? Misinformation, insurgency, This is one of his tools of war that he uses against the children of Israel. And nothing is new today. They're going to use they're doing the same thing today to spread misinformation about us. And what are they using? CIA, the FBI, all these different type of organizations, COINTELPRO. This is what they're doing to spread misinformation about the children of Israel, about what we're truly trying to do. All right, from there, let's get 1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 13. No, Judith. Get Judith first. Judith 5 and 20.
Judith chapter 5 and verse 20.
Come on.
Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people,
Come on.
and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
Who's talking right here? This is Herlophanes. This is another heathen talking about how we are going to be destroyed. It says if there's sin in us, then we can be destroyed. If there's something in us that we're going against the law, statutes, and commandments of our God, that's when you go against us in battle. So now, what are some of the ways they use to keep us in sin? We already read about one of them, music. When you think about music, what are they pushing in our music? They're pushing sex. They're pushing drugs. They're pushing murder, hatred. All these things they're pushing in this music, which is another form of war. This is another form of war that they're pushing against the black community, which is why you have who's controlling these music labels? The so-called white man, Amalek, the fake Jews. They're pushing stuff in our communities that they don't push in their communities. They are the ones that has power over all these things. When you think about Sony Music Group, Capitol Records, all these different organizations, they are the ones in control of these things. All right, finish that out.
Judith 5 and 20, verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God before them.
And this is what they knew. If we kept the commandments, God is going to defend us and be for us. All right, from there, 1 Maccabees 8 and 13.
1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 13.
Come on.
Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign. And whom again they displace.
It says those who they would help to a kingdom are the ones that reign. So Deacon Joshua touched on this. There's whole schools that they use to create leaders that's going to follow after the American mindset and ideology. We read about it earlier in Revelations 13 when it's talking about the two horns, the democracy and the Republican Party. They raise up leaders to put in these different countries, or insurgency, as we read earlier, as one of the types of warfare. Watch this though, read.
Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign. And whom again they would they displace.
It says those who didn't agree, they displaced them. What is this called? A coup d'etat. They will send jackals in. Who else is doing this? The CIA. These intelligence agencies that America has set up to destabilize countries. They'll send the CIA or the jackals in to destabilize this country, start riots, and then they will move that leader out the way and put the ones in that they have trained to be the leader of that country.
Right.
So now what does that happen? What happens there? America has control over these other countries who they call foreign countries. This has been their tactic for a long time, and nothing's new. They're still doing that today. When you think about Haiti, what happened to the Haitian leader? They sent their jackals in because they didn't agree with his policies. They assassinated him, moved him out the way. Now they put a puppet leader in that society. What happened to people like Patrice Lumumba? What happened to all of our leaders that they set up? There's a lot of examples. What happened to Fidel Castro? What happened to Gaddafi? Cesar Chavez. Look at all these people they have done this stuff to. Maduro, exactly. These people they're doing these things to. And what does Maduro started saying? He started realizing that he was an Israelite. And once he spoke on that, hey, get him out the way. He got to go. With war, they use war to get him up out of there. All right, so this is what this man does. His misinformation. Now, let's get another example. 1 Maccabees chapter 1. Let's read 11 through 15. All right, because remember it says insurgencies, or they will set in people who are feigning themselves to be Israelites. Read.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 11.
Come on.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Wicked men. Read.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
So let's think about this. These are wicked men of Israel who saying, let's go make a covenant with the heathen. Let's go be like this heathen. Read.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
What is this called? Misinformation. This is called causing discord amongst leaders, amongst people who are at ease. Are at this, we not right now. We were trying to fight back for our laws, statutes, and commandments. But there was a wicked root that rose up and said, hey, let's go make a covenant with the heathen. Why? Because they seen the forces. This man seen the armies and how they were going throughout the whole world, conquering everybody. All right, when you read verse 1, when it talks about Alexander, the son of Philip, Alexander the Greek conquered the whole world. So what's happening? Fear was setting in amongst our people to where, you know what? Let's go make a covenant with them before they destroy us. Read.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
It said the king gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. Read.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant.
So now let's bring this up to today's time, because you had a man who made covenant with the heathens, talking about Jason. He made covenants with the heathen and to where he set up their customs. He set up gyms of naked exercise. He set up their gymnasium so we could practice their traditions, their customs. Let's think about this today. When you got the black church and these pastors are pushing white supremacy, aka Christianity, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing going on today. These ungodly customs that's being pushed in our community. When you got the worship of a white man as Jesus Christ. When you got all nations can be saved. When you got, you can eat whatever you want as long as you pray over. These are ungodly customs that were going on back in the time of Greece, and they're going on today. Read verse 15.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
It said they made themselves like the heathens, joined to the heathens and made covenants with them. All right, go to jump to 2 Maccabees chapter 4, and let's start at verse 7.
2 Maccabees chapter 4 verse 7.
Come on.
But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest.
You see that? It said he labored underhand to be high priest, meaning he tried to pay his way into the high priest position. Read.
Promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set up a place for exercise and for the training up of the youth and the fashions of the heathen.
So this man, he said he labored underhandedly, meaning he paid his way into this position to set up heathen customs and to put our boys, our young men, into heathen customs. When you talk about your sports today, your football, how our kids are trained from a young age to only love basketball, football, track, sports, music, all these different things, the heathenish customs. That's what's going on today. This is a war tactic that has been used against us for us to love the culture that the so-called white man is setting forth. This is a tactic used to destroy us because why? When do most football games happen? On the Sabbath. From high school all the way up, when you think about Friday Night Lights, this is when they push these things on the Sabbath day. All right? These are customs that our people are falling into. Jump to verse 13. Did you read verse 11?
No.
Read 10 and 11.
Verse 10. Which when the king had granted, he had gotten into his hand the rule. He forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashions.
You see this? This man brought his own nation to the Greekish fashions. Read.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away, and putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law.
You see that? He put down it says he put down the government which were according to the law unto our law, and set up heathen law, set up heathen customs, which was against ours. They were contrary to our laws. This is what was going on. Jump to verse 13.
Verse 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch.
It says through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, the ungodly wretch. Read.
And no high priest.
He was no high priest because he didn't get it how he was supposed to. He paid himself into that position. Read.
That the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifice.
You see that? That's a form of warfare, to where now his profaneness was so great that he made the priests hate their position. He made the priests hate serving in a position that the Lord has set up from the beginning from them to do. This is a war tactic, influence, insurgency, psyops. We're going to get into psyops later. This is what this is going into. This is a war tactic from the heathen. And you wonder why at this time Greece was able to conquer the whole earth, because they were masters at war. All right, from there, let's go back to, let's read hybrid. There you go, right there. Let's read that one at the bottom. Modern concepts.
Modern concepts. Hybrid warfare, blending conventional, irregular, cyber, and information warfare tactics.
See that? It says blending conventional hand-to-hand war, irregular war. When you scroll up, let's see what it says about irregular war. We just talked about that. The asymmetrical or irregular warfare, that insurgency or terrorism. Go back down. All right. And then it says cyber and information war tactics. So now that goes into disinformation and economic coercion. All right. Let's go to 1 Ezra chapter 5. Let's read 70 through 73. Remember, disinformation. Let's touch on disinformation.
1 Ezra chapter 5 and verse 70.
Come on.
Then Zerubbabel and Jesus and the chief of the families of Israel said unto them, it is not for us and you to build together an house unto the Lord our God. We ourselves alone will build unto the Lord of Israel.
So at this time, we was trying to rebuild the temple back into the Lord. And the other nations, they wanted to build with us. But our forefathers, Zerubbabel and Joshua, they said, hey, listen, it ain't for y'all to try to do this with us. We have to build our temple back alone. Read.
According as Cyrus, the king of the Persians, have commanded us. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea and holding them straight, hindered their building.
It said they hindered our building. So let's think about this. If they wanted to help us out so bad, why would they then turn to hinder us when we said, no, we good, we don't need no help? That shows you they didn't really want to help us. Read.
And by their secret plots and popular persuasion.
By their disinformation, their secret plots and popular persuasion. What's a popular persuasion? A lie. Misinformation. Spreading stuff that's going to hinder us from building. Read.
And commotions. They hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived.
It said they use this to hinder the building of the kingdom. All right. They use misinformation, the spreading of lies throughout the world to hinder us from building again our temple. All right. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 68.
2 Ezra 16 and 68.
Come on.
For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you.
Come on.
And they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols.
It said it's going to take certain of us being idle, feeding us things offered unto idol. What are they going to be feeding us? Misinformation. They're going to be feeding us idolatrous ways, the customs of the heathens. These are the things they're going to be feeding us. Christianity, these different religions, because we are idle. We're not focused in the scriptures. All right, we're not building ourselves up on our most pure faith, like it says in Jude. They're going to feed some of us, take us away being idle. And another way they're going to take us away is by fear. By fear of war. When you, like we read earlier in this chapter, all the things that's going to happen to us, when it says they're going to be like madmen spoiling, some of us are going to be taken away back into this world because of fear, because we're not standing strong on what we believe in. Read it one more time.
Verse 68, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols.
They're going to take us away because of we being idle. They're going to feed us with false religions, misinformation. They're going to start to tell us stuff that we're going to believe, and we're going to think about, man, where this world is going. All right, we use AI right now to spread this gospel and to push this gospel. But what happens when they start to turn AI against us and they feed us with misinformation? They put images up of us saying things that we know ain't biblical. Are you going to believe it? Are you going to be idle to the fact that you start to take heed to these false informations? What's one of the false things they say? I'll praise you in the spirit, that we are a hate group, that we are number 3 on the hate group list. What have we done to spread hate in this world? Last time I checked, we are pushing marriage. We're pushing a 2-parent household. We're pushing marriage. We're pushing to stop drugs, stop killing each other, stop hating each other, brotherly love and unity. That's what we're pushing. So how is that considered hate? It's considered hate because this man hates everything we do. He's contrary to everything that we say and do out of these scriptures. So to him, he's going to look at that as hate. All right, let's go Revelation chapter 13. Let's read 5 and 6.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 5.
How is he going to spread his misinformation? Read.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
It says he has a mouth to speak great things. His media is what he uses to speak great things. Let's take a look at some of these articles that he uses, that he does to speak great things against us. All right, now we passed that. What's the next thing I got up there? Let's read this. Definition of propaganda.
Definition of propaganda.
Come on.
Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature.
It says of a biased or misleading nature. Read.
Used to promote a particular cause, doctrine, or point of view.
So propaganda is used to push a particular point of view. That's what propaganda is used for. So now let's go to the Out of Shadows. If y'all haven't watched this documentary, you need to watch it, because Out of the Shadows has a lot of good stuff in there that you don't really hear about. First, let's go to 18 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's start at that timestamp. 18 minutes and 2 seconds. No, I don't want to go there first. Go to 34:19. I'm sorry.
Starting in 1900, we entered a previously unimaginable time of modern technology. Advances that allowed the rulers of this world to construct and direct our stories in ways we previously never imagined. As a result, new techniques to control the population were realized.
You hear that? It says new techniques to control the population was realized. What are we seeing here? The development of all the radio and TV stations after World War I. Play.
Construct and direct our stories in ways we previously never imagined. As a result, new techniques to control the population were realized. These are the people from the companies that we have trusted to deliver us our news and tell our stories. This has always been about controlling what we as the population think and hear.
I want you to pay attention to some of these channels that is up there. You had the Disney Channel. Go back just a little bit so we can see all these stations that they are using. You got Facebook, Venmo, YouTube, Disney Channel.
They help create our culture and influence our society.
It says to help create a culture and influence our society. Their propaganda is what they use to influence our society. Play.
The citizens only trust them because as a society, we think that the gatekeepers have our best interest in mind.
The dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job. That is our job.
You see that right there? She said that is our job to control what people think. That's the job of media today. They are to control what people think. Keep playing. You're going to go to 38:15.
As I was researching, I found that most of the early communication companies were developed for shipping or aviation. And a lot of the men that started these companies were commissioned by the military during World War I and World War II. Many of these men worked for the Army and Navy intelligence services along with the OSS, which we know became the CIA.
Hey, it says the OSS became the CIA. The OSS became the CIA. So they was using this to broadcast and control what people think. The Central Intelligence Agency, if you really pay attention, they're behind a lot of mischief in this world. And most of it is against the children of Israel. But play.
Examples of these men becoming the heads or founders of some of the biggest motion picture and media companies before and after their government or military service. I wanted to know.
Go back just a little bit because I just seen something I didn't notice the first time. It says this man right here, he was the director of radio operations for psychological warfare. Psychological warfare. He is a director. He's a military official, one of the top ranking at the time. So they're letting you know that they use psychological warfare. Play on.
Or military service. I wanted to know how many.
And he became the founder of CBS. The founder of CBS was one of the top military officials who was in charge of radio operations of psychological warfare. So let's think about that. How does the two connect? Because they use TV to control your minds, to put out subliminal messages. So you wonder why our kids hate each other. You wonder why our kids grow up in gang culture, because they're programming them from a young age. Play on.
Service. I wanted to know how many of the media companies in today's world connected back to Washington. So I started looking. It was like a family tree. The connections between our government personnel and the media corporations was unbelievable. Google, Amazon, Netflix, Twitter, CNN, ABC.
You see that? All these government officials have ties to news and television broadcasting stations. Why? This is something you got to ask yourself, because they're using this to control or spread misinformation or propaganda. This is one of Esau's war tactics that they use very, very well. These Netflix movies. So you wonder, side note, when you see all these Tyler Perry movies and they always depict the dark-skinned black man as what? As a gang member, as a woman abuser. This is all a part of the plot that they use to destroy the black community. Play on.
What would happen if all these companies had the same political ideology or agenda? We as this population like to hear people confirm our confirmation biases. We like to hear people tell us that we're right. We don't like to be wrong. And we believe that the people on the media and the people that we're listening to have our best interests in mind. The problem is what if they don't? So if you stop and think about it, they can place any agenda on the population that they choose.
They can place any agenda on the population they could choose. So you got to really pay attention and examine the type of movies and TV shows that they putting out. It's for a reason. Play on.
I think
38:15.
Hollywood is teaching bad morals to the youth of this country as well as adults. Desensitizing of violence to the masses. You can't deny that. My kids have seen so many people get killed in very violent ways.
3 times as much gun violence now.
And
let's pause it right there. Let's think about that. Some of these movies and TV shows that we watch, our kids have seen more violence to the point where they're desensitized to it. These video games, it doesn't affect them anymore. Bishop brought out about the Roblox video games, how they was pushing sex and all these different things in these kids, so-called kids video games, that you got grown-ass men. Excuse me. I get at least one. Hey, I get at least one. I come up under cap, bro. I get at least one. You got grown men on here playing these video games with 6 and 7-year-old kids, 8-year-old kids. What are they pushing? Sex. They're desensitizing our kids to these things at a young age. Play on.
3 times as much gun violence now.
And the sex that's in PG-13 movies.
Why?
Every Disney movie, there's a major character, usually a parent, that gets killed. Trauma to the child. Why? It's so horrible. What a bad story. Why do you need to start a story?
Hey, that's a heavy point, because a lot of our kids grow up loving Bambi, loving Lion King. But how do these movies start? With the death of a parent. Why does it have to be a death of a parent? Why does it have to be now these kids are forced into single parent households? Who is that aimed towards? Our community. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's who these things are aimed towards. To now it becomes a regular or a norm. To now we are okay with growing up in single parent households. We don't see nothing wrong with it. Or they're pushing the mother to the forefront of the household. These are all the subliminal things that they put in our kids' movies and TV shows that we're not paying attention to. Play on.
It's so horrible. What a bad story. Why do you need to start a story with a parent dying? Always. It's so sad.
Under MK Ultra, they experimented on children. We were even taught this in psychophysiology program, that if you get to a child between ages 1 and 6 or 1 or 8, especially with sexual abuse or sexual trauma, you will split their personality and they will be imprinted the rest of their life. And many times—
Stop. That's a heavy point. He said if you get to the kids between the ages of 1 and 6, you can split their personality and that will imprint them for the rest of their life. So you wonder why our little girls grow up so over-sexualized, because of the stuff that they're watching. How you parents, you dragons, give the kids tablets at an early age and let them watch whatever they want to. You are a part of destroying your kids. Esau is telling you this is a war tactic they use against our communities, but we're not paying attention. The Bible gives a solution to that. Get that Deuteronomy 6 and 7. This is what the Bible says we're supposed to be doing. Not giving our kids tablets and letting them do whatever they want to. No, we got to stop giving these kids too much liberty. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7.
Come on.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
We're supposed to be teaching the laws of God diligently to our children, meaning we have a care for what's going into their mind. We have a care for what they're learning, their upbringing, their enduring the hardness of education, like you read in 2 Maccabees 7. Read.
And shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
Meaning we are around our kids. We are present parents. We're not parents that's just giving our kids devices and telling them to go about their way. Or, hey, go, stop bothering me. I'm doing something. That's what the scripture's telling you. Be a present parent. Because if you are not, this is what's going to raise your kids. They're going to be over-sexualized. They're going to be talking about they got a boyfriend, they got a girlfriend. Why? Because you gave them too much liberty. Their personality has been split between the ages of 1 and 6 because of what we are feeding them in these subliminal messages. Play it.
Even taught this in psychophysiology program, that if you get to a child between ages 1 and 6 or 1 or 8, especially with sexual abuse or sexual trauma, you will split their personality and they will be imprinted the rest of their life. And many times that results in split personalities and dissociative behavior and other things.
These occult topics are being introduced to our kids, and most parents aren't even aware of it.
It said most parents aren't even aware of what's been introduced to our kids. Why? Because we grow up in society now where we don't care. We're not giving our kids that attention. Technology has advanced to the point now that we don't even know what's going on in our homes. We don't care about what's going on in our homes. When I grew up, bro, we was outside all day. We very rarely was on a computer or video games like that. We would rather be outside on a bike, But today, these kids are growing up with tablets and phones in their face. Hell, I didn't get a cell phone until I was at least a sophomore in high school. But today, you got kids getting cell phones at 8 and 9 years old. For what? How are you that absent in your kid's life that they need a cell phone at 8 and 9 years old? Make it make sense. A cell phone that can access anything in the world. And you wonder why your kids are growing up over-sexualized. Why they're growing up so angry, with hatred. All these different things because they're telling you they get to your kids early. Go to 3815.
So the biggest surge with this occult type material took place in the late 60s and the early 70s with movies like The Exorcist, Amityville Horror.
So you see, hey, they've been controlling us for a long time, and they're using media because there was a point in time where being a sodomite was taboo, was not heard of. But what did they start doing? Slowly introducing it into what our TV shows were. Slowly introducing into music to where now we start to get desensitized to it. To now it's all over the TVs, and now we are okay with that thing. Now this world is okay with homosexuality. It's a norm because they slowly introduced us to that act, and we slowly got desensitized to it. To now, nobody bats an eye when you see a sodomite walking down the street. When that goes completely against the scriptures. All right? So now go to the next one. Let's read this, a little bit of this.
Majority of black Americans see racist or negative depictions in news media, new study finds.
So there's a reason why they're pushing this throughout news and media. They only push a racist or negative depiction of the so-called black man. What are the stereotypes you see in the media? You see single-parent households. You see an angry black woman. You see a black man that's either in jail, selling drugs, or sleeping with a lot of women. A perfect movie about that is They Clone Tyrone. That movie shows so many of the stereotypes in this world and how that was fabricated. They fabricated through the food, through the music, through the religion. All these things are fabricating the negative stereotypes of who we are in America today. All right, go back to that. Scroll down just a little bit. There's a certain part I seen in here I wanted. Read that part right there. There's a feeling.
There's a feeling that black Americans are often depicted as perpetrators or victims of crime. And there are no nuances in the coverage.
And that's facts. That's how we are feeling. That's why we hate seeing movies like 12 Years a Slave. We hate seeing movies like Roots. We hate seeing movies like Birth of a Nation. We don't like seeing ourselves in these slave mentalities because that's all they push. But our people don't realize it's a necessity for us to see these things to remember who we are.
Right.
But what does society say? That's all you're good for. Our history started at slavery. We're not told who we were before then. We're only taught that we're only good to be servants in this society. Not that we God's chosen people. That's not what's pushed in our communities. Scroll down just a little bit. Keep going. Read that right there. Negative attitudes.
Negative attitudes toward the press tended to increase with income and education levels, Matza said. While 57% of those in lower income levels said news coverage about black people was more negative than it was about other groups. That number jumped to 75% of wealthier respondents, the study found.
And when you read that first line, it says negative attitudes toward the press tended to increase with income. So the more and more you get allowed access to certain things, you start to see certain things. When you get a certain amount of money, you start to get invited to certain rooms that you weren't invited to before. And what do you see in these rooms? You see the oppression that goes on in our communities. And you see how they're using media to destroy us. But what happens? You become $1 million slave. The moment you speak out against that thing, they take everything from you and they blackball you. What's an example of that? Colin Kaepernick. He started to bend the knee for the oppression of his people. And what did they do? They cut his water off. All right, so that's what goes on. All right, you can drop that. Go to the next one. All right, read that.
Countering the conspiracy to destroy black boys.
It says there's a conspiracy out there to destroy our young black boys. All right, let's jump into it. Read that second. Read the first one.
And the hustlers, pimps, street men, and other social outcasts who serve as models for the young.
You see that? It says these are the type of people who serve as role models for our young. Why is it for our young? Because like we just saw in that documentary, if you get them at a young age, you can start to shape how they see this life. And what do? They put these people as our role models. Why is it that, I'm going to show my age a little bit. Why is it that we knew about Magic Don Juan? How did he become a role model in our communities? How did the pimping culture become something we held at a high esteem in the black community? People like Snoop Dogg pushing this thing. Why is it that the drug dealers, the pimps, the street men, became our role models? Why is it we looked up to people like Rick Ross? Why is it that we looked up to people like Tukey Williams? Why are we looking up to people like this in a black society? Because they push these people to the top to be our role models as a form of misinformation, as a form of psyops or psychological warfare. Today, you have YouTube streamers like Kai Cenat as a role model in our black community, who's getting in showers with men like Ray J. How is this beneficial to the black community? But a lot of our kids from the ages of 8 to 13, they know who Kai Cenat is. This is what's going on in our communities. All right, go to the next one, the next article. Yeah, let's play this.
The C-SPAN networks bring you long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
The fourth challenge is to take back our streets from crime, gangs, and drugs. And we have actually been making progress on this count as a nation because of what local law enforcement officials are doing, because of what citizens and neighborhood patrols are doing. We're making some progress. Much
this
of
good
it is
old
related
Hillary
to the
Clinton, who most of you Negroes voted for. All right, it says she's talking about making strides in the fight against against drugs and violence. Who's she talking about? You know who she's talking about. It's the so-called black and Hispanics. All right, play on.
Neighborhood patrols are doing. We're making some progress. Much of it is related to the initiative called community policing, because we have finally gotten more police officers on the street. That was one of the goals that the president had when he pushed the crime bill that was passed in
So now, pause it. Let's think about this crime bill, right? That her husband signed, and along with Barack Obama and a few other people. The Sleepy Joe, right? The 3 strikes law. What happens if you get convicted of 3 violent crimes, you're going to jail for life. That's something her husband signed, Bill Clinton. And we all looked at Bill Clinton as what? The first black president. That's what a lot of Negroes considered him because of something that he did with another woman. Let's think about the mindset of that. Y'all calling him a first black president because of his relations with Monica Lewinsky. Because he committed adultery, snuck another woman in the White House, but y'all calling him this man black. Our people is bugged out of their mind, bro. But this man signed a crime bill that threw our people in jail. They were targeting our people. They were arresting us and planting drugs on us, incriminating us over small things to where we start to get 3 strikes and go to jail for life. That's what was going on in this crime bill. Play.
That was one of the goals that the president had when he pushed the crime bill that was passed in 1994. He promised 100,000 police. We're moving in that direction, but we can see it already makes a difference. Because if we have more police interacting with people, having them on the streets, we can prevent crimes. We can prevent petty crimes from turning into something.
Hey, look up the LA riots. Let's see what year that took place. 1992. So let's think about this, right? Read that a little bit. Right underneath there. Yep. Read that. Yep.
Yeah. 1992 Los Angeles riots.
Uh-huh.
When the riots ended, 63 people had been killed. 2,383 had been injured, and more than 12,000 had been arrested. And estimates of property damage were over $1 billion, making it the most destructive period of local unrest in U.S. history.
Read on.
Koreatown, situated just to the north of South Central LA, was disproportionately damaged because of the racial tensions between the black and Korean communities.
So it says between the black and Korean communities. So they looked at us black people as what? as what Hillary Clinton is about to describe. There's a reason why I pulled that out. Play that now.
Petty crimes from turning into something worse. But we also have to have an organized effort against gangs, just as in a previous generation we had an organized effort against the mob. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators.
Stop. You see this? She called us super predators. Who is that geared towards? You so-called blacks and Hispanics. Because during this time, the gang culture, she's talking about you so-called blacks. At first, she mentioned the so-called white man with the mobs, but then she switched and said the drug cartels and the gangs today. Who is she referring to? The blacks, Hispanics. Because we were the ones, our people were the ones that were pushing drugs bought in by the CIA. They were using us when they bought the drugs in to sell to our own people. And in turn, what do? They paint the narrative in media that we were super predators. So when you got things like the LA riots, when black people were involved, causing over $1 billion worth of damage, this is what played into her calling us this. This is what played into the narrative of them calling us super predators. Go to the next one. That's all I wanted on that. Remember what we're talking about right now. We're talking about this hybrid style of warfare where they spread misinformation or propaganda. Read that.
Analysis. How the media created a super predator myth that harmed a generation of black youth.
You see that? I don't even want to read the rest of the article. It says the media created this myth. And we just played you that in the Out of the Shadows documentary that the media controls the mindset of our people. So when the media, they're all pushing this myth simultaneously that we are super predators, what do you think the world is going to believe? Matter of fact, yes, I want you to go at let me get the timestamp. Jump to 18 minutes and 2 seconds. Because remember, it says the media is pushing this narrative. I'm about to show you something. The CIA again. How has it gone too far? Stop. Pause that. Read that.
CIA's Operation Mockingbird. We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false.
You see this? It says they will. Who said this? It says William J. Casey, Director of Central Intelligence. This man is the leader of the was the leader of the Central Intelligence, and he says he'll know their program is complete when the American public believes beliefs is false.
There's no question about the fact that Mockingbird is real. It started out paying journalists in major media, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalists, to print fake stories that the CIA wanted in the press and fake interviews. And this was revealed in the Church Committee.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
And of course, then the CIA destroyed the rest of the files, which is what they do. George H.W. Bush came out and finally made the statement about Mockingbird. Well, we're going to officially stop the Mockingbird program. The CIA will no longer pay journalists to write stories. From now on, the program is voluntary, which means Mockingbird continues today.
You heard that? It says Mockingbird continues today. Now, remember, it says the CIA was paying these journalists to write these stories, right? Now, let's see what these journalists did, and let's see how this is shaping the mindset of our people. Watch this. Because we played earlier how our people believe everything the news say to be facts, right? Watch this. Play.
Which means Mockingbird continues today. When's the last time you've seen a mainstream media outlet do a serious investigative report on the actions of the CIA?
Never.
There's a reason for that.
This would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country. And we're looking at that very carefully. You say that continues?
And you wonder, does the CIA do that? Yes. They channel their information through foreign countries, and now when we look at news around the world, now what are they pushing? The American narrative. when you have news stations that go against the American or the Amalek narrative, what happens? They shut them down, or they don't even broadcast them in the United States. Play?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
Platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Stop. You see that? How all these different news stations from everywhere in the United States are saying the exact same words. This is Operation Mockingbird when they're pushing their narratives. And who is behind this? The CIA. Esau, Edom. The man you believe in and trust in to be so good and have the benefit of our people at heart. No, this man has a perpetual hatred, and he uses all different war tactics to push that hatred against you. Play?
Extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is 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 extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Look at this, bro. That should bring red flags to your mind. Stop trusting these news stations. They're not going to tell you the truth about what's going on. And how do we know that? Every time there's a shooting involved a so-called white man, what do? They talk about, oh, he had a troubled past. They show all good and pleasant pictures of him. Him with his mom and his uncle playing baseball. But when they show us, they talk about our criminal records. They talk about how we grew up in gang violence and all this other stuff. Yeah, they use a mug shot of us. This is what they do to push narratives that we are super predators in this world. All right. What's the time on that? All right, that's all I wanted. From there, go to Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. Let's get back to the scripts.
Daniel chapter 7 and verse 25.
Come on.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
You see that? He's speaking great words against us through his propaganda, against the Most High, and by speaking against his people, by saying that we are not the real Israelites, by saying that Jesus Christ is not a black man. These are ways that they speak against the Most High. Read on.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws.
And it said, wear out the saints of the Most High. What's another way they wear out the saints of the Most High? Let's read this.
Additional measures to combat anti-Semitism.
So they have measures to combat anti-Semitism. Or to say, if you speak out against these people who are pretending to be you, you are anti-Semitic. They are passing laws for this now. But we can go and prove all throughout history that we have always been the Jews. We have always been the Israelites the Bible has spoke of. But if we say that now, they're pushing that we are anti-Semitic. All right, go to Revelations 2 and 9.
Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9.
Come on.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
I know the misinformation, the lies, the filthy lies of them who say they are Jews, read.
And are not.
And are not. The Bible says these people who have been claiming to be us since the Balfour Declaration, since before then, who claim to be us, they are a liar. Because we have been discontinued from our heritage. We've forgotten that we was Israelites. But now the Bible is reminding us who we truly are. So we ain't been the ones all throughout history saying that we the Jews. No, it's been this man who has stolen our identity, who has been wearing us out through his laws, through his media, saying that we are not the Israelites, through his propaganda. Go to Revelations 3 and 9.
Can I finish that?
Yeah, finish it.
I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
Come on.
And are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
It says they are the synagogue of Satan. 3 and 9?
Yes, sir. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
It said they do lie. Is that where we're on that?
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
The Lord says he knows those who say they are Jews and they do lie. It's going to come a time, like we read in Genesis 25, where the elder shall serve the younger.
Right.
All right? Because now, what are they pushing? All throughout the city. I've seen here in Kansas City, and the officer can attest, they got billboards going around talking about fighting anti-Semitism. Yeah, you don't have to be a Jew to protect Jews. Or this Jew hate stuff. They are pushing this. They got commercials about this stuff now. They're pushing this stuff through their media. Another way they are wearing out the saints. So now, let's see who are the Semitic people. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 1. Yeah, put that on the screen as we read this. 1 Chronicles 1, let's read verse 17. You don't have to be a Jew to protect Jews. Come on, man. Look at this stuff. Standing against anti-Semitism is standing with America. You are right on that. You are absolutely right. You are standing with Esau if you are protecting the people who are calling themselves the Jews. Read that.
1 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 17.
Come on.
The sons of Shem.
These are the sons of Shem, or the Semitic people. Jump down to verse 34.
Verse 34.
Uh-huh.
And Abraham begat Isaac.
Come on.
The sons of Isaac, Esau, and Israel.
So Israel are Semitic people. So when we say we are the Israelites according to the scriptures, that is not anti-Semitic.
Right.
It's facts. We are Semitic people as well. How come when there's something that is done against the Chinese people, the Bible calls Moab, how come there's not said that that's anti-Semitic? They're Semitic people as well. So that's something you got to think about. How come when something is said against, how come they're not calling anti-Semitic to go against the Arabs? They're Semitic people. Only when we say that we are the Israelites, it becomes anti-Semitic. Right. Only when we expose Esau for not being us is spoken as anti-Semitic. Right. This is another war tactic used against the children of Israel. So when it says this man was blessed with the art of the war, it goes way deeper than just hand-to-hand combat. Go to Habakkuk chapter 2. Let's read 4 and 5.
The book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4.
Come on.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
Who is this? The so-called white man, or Esau. It said, the Lord said his soul is not upright in him. Read.
But the just shall live by his faith.
Come on.
Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine.
It said, this man transgresses by lies. This is how he transgresses the Lord, by spreading lies and misinformation. This is how he wears out the saints. His propaganda. Read.
He is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home.
It says he's a proud man. And he's not going to keep it home because that's how he spreads. He's a vagabond in every land that he goes into. Right. And what does he use to take over these lands? His military. Read.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell.
He enlarges everywhere he goes by destroying, by conquering, by enslaving the people of these lands. Read on.
And is as death and cannot be satisfied.
It said this man is as death. And he can't be satisfied. What did we read earlier in Genesis? We read that he comforts himself in killing us. He comforts himself in afflicting the children of Israel. That's what this man does. Read that.
But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
Go to Micah 2 and 11. What's this wine that this man transgresses by?
Micah 2 and verse 11.
Come on.
If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie.
Come on.
Saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink.
It says he will, walking in the spirit of falsehoods, do lie. Saying he will prophesy unto them of wine, meaning lies. He will spread lies. What are some of the lies? The Jews are white people. Jesus Christ is a white man. Moses was a white man. The Most High God is a white man. We are slaves. That's what this man does. That's what he says. These are the lies that he transgresses by. And we fall right into it when you got black men in churches like 2819 talking about it don't matter what color Christ is. Talking about God loves everybody. Talking about the Hebrew Israelites as our cult. This is what they saying. These are the lies they transgress by. When we tell our people that God only loves the Israelites, that's not a lie. That's Bible. Come on. When we say that Jesus Christ is a black man, that is Bible. But we are we're famed as liars and imposters. That's what we're famed as, for spreading the truth as a hate group. All right, from there, go to let's see. Now we're gonna touch on economics, because this was another form of their warfare. All right, remember it says a hybrid warfare. They spread disinformation, and they touch on economics. They despair us in economics. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and let's read verse 16.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 16.
Come on.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
God said we're going to be cursed in the city. All right, what does that mean to be cursed in the city? To have the worst jobs, to live in the worst neighborhoods, to have jobs that we can't afford groceries. Come on. We can't afford to live. We can't afford the basic necessities that we need for life. So what does that lead us to? That leads us to selling drugs. That leads us to stealing. That leads us to killing. Why? Because our economics are being affected by these other nations. They're being controlled by these other nations. Jump to verse 31.
Verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
So what our Native American brothers and sisters, our so-called Native Americans, our so-called Latinos, oxen was one of our biggest forms of economic wealth. Why? Because we use them for clothing. We use them for food. We use them for protection. We use them for housing. This is what we used our animals and our resources for trading amongst each other. But what did the so-called white man do? They killed our oxen right before us. They destroyed us. They took back our oxen and killed them all. Read it again.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
You see that? It was not restored unto us. Read.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
This was our form of wealth back then. This is how we live. We were a people built off of husbandry, off of farming, off of keeping the land, off of livestock. This is how we developed our wealth. But when the so-called white man came over, what did they do? They took that from us. They destroyed us. Read verse 33.
Verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
This is called colonization. When they take the resources that was given to us that grew naturally in the lands that we possessed, and they forced us to work for them and pay for them. Something that God naturally gave to us. How is that significant today? Venezuela is one of the world's leaders in oil. Come on. What does the so-called white man do? They come and take those resources. When you think about Africa, how they're rich in resources, off of precious metals, off of oils, off of all these things. And what does the so-called white man do? And all the nations at that point, they colonized the land.
Scramble for Africa.
Yeah, there was a whole scramble for Africa, to where now the people that live there, the natural inhabitants of the land, they're living in what they describe as a third world country. That doesn't make any sense. These lands that are rich, they're rich in resources, now have to rely on another country that's in a totally different hemisphere. That's called colonization. This is another form of warfare. All right, jump to verse 44.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee.
This so-called white man, who owns all the banks today? The banks that was built off of blood money, off of slavery, chattel slavery of what they did to our people. Who runs these banks? The so-called white man. Read.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
We are not lending to them. We don't have the financial institutions. We don't run these things. We don't run the IMF, the World Bank. We're not running that stuff. Read.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
We are the tail. We are the bottom of society right now because of our sins and our disobedience. The Lord is allowing this man to control our economics. All right, read verse 65.
Verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease.
Come on.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
Why will the sole of our foot not have rest? Because we're constantly working dead-end jobs just to maintain. We work in these jobs just to have food on our table, to have a shelter over our head. And think about this. Why? Another reason why? You can pay that house off. But if you don't pay property tax, they will take it from you. That's why the sole of our feet will never have rest. We will never be able to get ahead in this society because there is a war on our economics. All right, go to Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 7.
Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7.
Come on.
The rich ruleth over the poor.
It says the what?
The rich ruleth over the poor.
So now let's think about this. Who are the ones that funded the slave ships? So-called Jews, the Amalekites, the ones who are also now saying that you are anti-Semitic if you say you are the real Jews. These are the same ones that were the conquistadors who funded slavery. Read it one more time.
Proverbs 22 and verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor.
Come on.
And the borrower is servant to the lender.
It says the borrower is a servant to the lender. Why? Because when we get these loans, they charge us 300% and 400% interest. Usury, the Bible calls it. So now we're fighting just to get back even on that loan, but we can never do it because they set the terms to where we will never catch up or pay it off completely. That's what they do. They say in this world, you need education to succeed, but then they give you student loans that it takes a long time to pay off. That's what goes on in this society today. All right, so there's a war on our economics. All right, there's also a cyber warfare.
Let me get that graphic.
You got something?
Yeah, this graphic for you.
Let's put that up. Yeah, let's look at this. All praise you in the spirit. The same, look who the people who own these slave ships. You had the boat like the Abigail was owned by Jewish people. The Crown owned by Jewish people. Look at this. These people are the ones who had a big hand in our slavery. And you wonder why they are the rich ones in today. How they're able to own the news conglomerates. How they're able to own the music labels. Because they got rich off of our slavery. They were the ones that were controlling these things. But we say that, oh, maybe they are God's people. No, they're not. They the devil the Bible speaks of. That's right. All right. Hey, this all praises. This came in handy. I remember when this guy brought out all praises. Hey, listen, hold on to this information because this is the type of stuff they're trying to delete from our knowledge. They're trying to delete this stuff because they don't want us to know who's really behind these things. All right. Now go back. It says there's a cyber warfare. Go to that. Cyber warfare. Let's read that.
Cyber warfare. Attacking or defending information systems, networks, and digital infrastructure.
Digital infrastructure is also talking about our bank accounts, currencies. There's a big, what happened to Kanye West when he spoke out against those who are claiming to be the Jews? They cut his money off. Right. They closed his bank account. That's what happens when at the moment you speak against these people, they attack your money, your way of living. All right, there is a war against our economics. So now they're pushing, what are they pushing now? This digital currency. They're pushing digital currency that if you don't agree with what they're saying or accept the mark of the beast, they're going to cut you off. If you don't accept sin, they're going to cut you off. All right, and that's what this is going into. There's many different ways for this man to war against you. Let's think about this. Cyber warfare, right? They were able to shut off all the lights in Venezuela. An infrastructure that was supposed to be protected Each country is supposed to be able to protect their own infrastructure of power grids, all these things. America cut the whole lights off to the whole country. And you Negroes think y'all gonna pick up an AK and fight against this man? He turned the lights off and got this man before he can even get out of bed. A ruler of a country. We not fighting against an ordinary man, bro. All right, go back. Psychological. I want to touch on that one.
Psychological warfare, psyops.
Mm-hmm.
Influencing enemy emotions, motives, and behavior through propaganda or misinformation.
You see that? We already touched on that, how they make us look at ourselves through media, how they make us look at ourselves through music, all these different things. That's a psychological warfare. Their propaganda. This is what they use against us. Go to Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Because I want you to think about cases like Trayvon Martin, about Mike Brown, about Philando Castile, about George Floyd. Read that.
Zechariah 11, verse 5.
Come on.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Think about what that does to the psyche of a man when you see your people getting gunned down, getting killed that are innocent, and then the killer walks away free. What message does that send to you? It sends to you that your life is not valuable. That is a psychological warfare playing on your mind. That's what's going on. That's why they publicize these things. And they take it back to slavery, which is why they did the public lynchings, which is why they did the public demonstrations of castrating us. They were playing on your mindset. That reminds me, I didn't have this, but it reminds me of that doll test that they did. Had they had the little girl, they had the black doll and the white doll.
Which one is the pretty doll?
And they asked them, which one is the pretty one? And the little black girls, you would think they would choose a doll to look like them, but they didn't. They chose the white one because they have played on the mindset of our kids. Look at the princesses that they put on TV. When they put up Cinderella, when they put up Snow White. Listen to the name, Snow White. When they put up all these different princesses that don't look like our kids. Which is why you have this doll test with the kids pointing to the white doll saying that that's the beautiful one. It's a psychological warfare. It's a cold game these people are playing. Yeah, read that.
The doll test. In the original Clark doll test, the white doll was consistently chosen as the prettier, good, and nice one by the majority of black children.
You see that? By the majority of black children. What's that movie, The Butler, where they had I think it was The Butler, where she had the servant. We kept telling the little white girl, you was kind, you was smart, you was beautiful. The nanny, you was kind, you was smart, you was beautiful. She's feeding all these affirmations into this little white girl, but meanwhile she's the help. She don't look at herself as greater. Yeah, that's a scene right there. You ain't got to play it. Go back to what he had. The Help, that's what it's called. Go back to that article we was just reading about the doll test.
It says, while the black doll was often deemed bad or ugly, through some later studies showed shifts.
It says the black doll was consistently deemed as bad or ugly by black kids because this is how they felt about themselves. This was a psychological warfare that they was playing on our minds. All right? Now, from there. Yeah, it says it right there.
I'm sorry.
Read it.
Yes, sir. I'm going to read it from top. In the original Clark doll test, the white doll was consistently chosen as the prettier, good, and nice one by the majority of black children, reflecting internalized racism and the psychological harm of segregation.
You see that? By reflecting internalized racism, how they felt about themselves. They hated themselves. And it says it was a psychological harm of segregation. All right, they try to use that to say that we are inferior to them, which is why, what did they do? They gave us the black only water fountain, which was more destroyed and dilapidated than the whites' only water fountain. They made us use the bathroom around back in the bad bathrooms. Meanwhile, Esau got the bathroom up front that was clean and right on public display. They would do things like cross the street when we walking down the street, when they the ones that took us from a country that was ours. They use that to play on our mind to try to make us think less of ourselves. All right. From there, go back to the types of warfare. Read electronic.
Electronic warfare. Jamming or disrupting enemy communications and radar.
So what do they do? They cut off. When you think about certain places where we ain't allowed internet access unless they can monitor it. Here in America, what are they doing? They're monitoring everything we say. These smartphones, they're listening. These computers, they're paying attention to everything you research. They're controlling the narrative, the algorithms. They're pushing what they put in front of your face. So you wonder why you pick up your phone, it's nothing but big booty women, because they're pushing that on you. They want you to go off into that. It's called, it's a psychological warfare, and they're using their technology to do that. All right, so now let's go to chemical and biological.
Chemical and biological warfare.
Come on.
Using toxic chemicals or infectious agents as weapons.
So they use these things as weapons. We are no stranger to this. When you think about the Tuskegee experiments, the syphilis and the smallpox blankets they was giving our Native American brothers and sisters, the drugs in our community, the sterilizations, right, from their Western medicine. These are all forms of chemical warfare. What else? Food. The food you eat. All right, so let's read that.
19 foods banned abroad.
Listen, some food that's allowed here in America, other countries, they know it's harmful and they ban that thing. Let's read some of them.
Number 1, Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops. A lot of us grew up eating Fruit Loops.
Facts.
That's banned in other countries because of the dyes and all the other stuff that's in it. Go down.
U.S. chicken.
So, and they cloned Tyrone when they said, it's in the chicken. Hey, the chicken that's made in America is banned in other countries because they're feeding it with hormones. They feeding it with things that's harmful for us. Yeah. Go down.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew, the sodas. Go down.
U.S. milk.
U.S. milk. Go down. Let's just read some of them. Right here, read.
Farmed salmon.
So even when you try to get on the health kick, the food that you're using is defiled. Read.
Maraschino cherries.
Come on. We ain't gonna read all of them, but keep this a few more.
U.S. apples.
Fruits.
Little Debbie Swiss rolls.
Stop eating them. They ain't no good for you.
U.S. breakfast cereal brands.
All the U.S. breakfast cereal brands. So you thought it was just the Fruit Loops. No. It says all U.S. cereal brands. Scroll down a little bit. I want to see what else on it. Look, yeah, read this one.
U.S. prepackaged ground beef.
So the prepackaged ground beef, they're putting things in it that's not beneficial to your health. Because ground beef, I don't know if y'all know this, but when you butcher it, it's not really that color. As red as it is, they put that like that on display so it can attract you and you think it's fresh. It appeals to your eyes. Roll down. Hey, God said this is against the laws anyway, so you shouldn't be eating pork after all. When you read Leviticus 11, you shouldn't be eating pork. Go down. Coffee mates. So that creamer you love, hey, it's banned in other countries. All right, drop that. Give me Ezekiel 4:13. Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 13. Let's see what the Bible says.
Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 13.
Come on.
And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles.
The Lord already told us we were going to eat our defiled bread amongst the Gentiles. Because of our sins, The Lord knew that our bread would be defiled. Why? Because this man of war is going to use every tactic he can against us to destroy us. When you have war, you kill your enemies by any means necessary. That is what Esau lives by. All is fair. All is fair in war. That's what this man says. He has no guidelines, no boundaries. Even when he tries to set them, he breaks them. When you think about war crimes today, how you're not supposed to kill kids. I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to. Hey, pull that up. I want to see that. Yeah, what are war crimes today? Human rights violations and war criminals have engaged in acts of genocide, torture, rape, extrajudicial killings, recruitment of child soldiers. These are all war crimes. Violation of religious freedoms. Hold on. Oh, that's a big one. Violation of religious freedom. So if us saying that we are the Israelites and keeping God's commandments, they're calling that anti-Semitism. So that, by definition, is a war crime. All right, but look at this stuff. The man who's gifted with the art of war, they don't keep to none of this. They are a fan of mass genocide. Look at Gaza today. How they're bombing hospitals. How they're bombing areas that they tell them to go to for safety. That's a war crime. All right, that's what's going on. All right, go back. We good on that. Read that again.
Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles.
So now let's think about this. Why would our bread be defiled? Hold this. Go back to Genesis 4 and 10. Everything goes back to this. Genesis 4 and 10?
Genesis chapter 4 and verse 10. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now thou art cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood.
So it said Cain would be cursed from the earth. Let's see some of the ways Cain will be cursed from the earth. Read.
When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength.
So it says when you till the ground, when you try to plant food, when you try to cultivate food, it would not yield its strength to you. So because of that, what does Esau do? GMOs. Genetically modified organisms. They create food. They mix foods. This is what they do because the Lord said, because of what Cain did, the ground would not yield its strength. Read on.
And now thou art cursed from the earth, verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
You see that? It's the Lord told Cain, the earth will not yield its strength towards you. So because of that, now we are eating defiled foods. Because this man is going around creating foods. Now they got a thing where they 3D printing steak. How do you 3D print food? A lot of the rice you eating you think is real. It's not real. The cabbage you eating, a lot of that stuff is not real because the ground is not yielding its strength to this man that's in the lands, that's farming the lands. All right, from there, go to Revelation chapter 6 and verse 8.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 8.
Come on.
And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death.
So this man, the pale horse, represents Esau. All right, read it. The man that's sitting on the horse is Esau. All right, because everywhere he goes is death and destruction. It's about to say it. Read.
And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death.
The name that sat on it was Death. That's representing this so-called white man, the man that sat on it, because he goes around killing. Everywhere he goes is nothing but death and destruction. Read.
And hell followed with him.
Come on.
And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth.
Read.
To kill with sword.
The fourth part of the earth is America. And he said he's going to kill with the sword. Read.
And with hunger. And with death. And with the beast of the earth.
So let's think about that. All these ways we just touched. He said he's going to kill with the sword, which is war. He's going to kill with hunger, which is the food. The foods he's giving us is destroying us. It says with death and with the beast of the earth. What does it mean with the beast of the earth? Let's look up that term zoonosis. Let's look this up. Let's read that.
Zoonosis is an infectious disease naturally transmissible from a vertebrate animal to humans.
So it says diseases that come from animals to humans. Animals to humans. Now let's get that article from the CDC. Let's read that.
Facts about diseases that can spread between animals and people.
All right, scroll down. Scroll down. Now let's look at the list of some of these diseases. All right, some of these you're not going to know, but some of you going to know. First one I see is influenza.
Yes.
You got the bird flu. You got the Black Death. Go down. The bubonic plague. Go down. Let's just read a few of them. Go down. Dog flu. I ain't never heard of dog flu. It's crazy.
E. coli infection?
Yeah, E. coli. Go down. The H's got a lot of them people know about. Read this. Read some of them.
H3N8 influenza.
Uh-huh.
Herpes B virus infection.
Uh-huh.
Herpes virus semi infection.
These are some of the ones we know about. The herpes, the H3, what ABCEFG influenza, whatever it's called. These are stuff we know about. Go down. So this is the mad cow disease.
Lyme disease.
Monkeypox. Yeah, listen to these names. These are all a part of zoonosis, meaning they're splicing animal cells with human cells and it's creating diseases. They're killing us with diseases. Rabies. Look at this stuff. Salmonella. Ringworm. Bro, these are all a part of zoonosis. This is a chemical warfare.
Swine influenza.
Yes. Ticks.
Tapeworm.
Bruh, this is all tuberculosis. These are things that they are killing with us. They're affecting us in our communities and in the world. I didn't even see COVID in there. That should have been on there. That's another one that came from zoonosis. All right, so you got to really sit back and examine what's going on in the world. The Tuskegee experiments, we said that. All right, so now these are all the different types of warfare, and there's plenty more we could touch on. But what is this class really to do? It's for you to have hope, for you to know what's going to come. All right, you got to know what's going to come and how you're going to endure it. You have to know that these things have to happen. But should you fear these things? No, you should not. Get that in Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. You have to be able to recognize the enemy and the tactics he's going to use to try to destroy you. He used that stuff back then. He's continuing to use this stuff today, and some of it is coming even more in the future. Read that.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body.
Come on.
But are not able to kill the soul. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
It says we're not supposed to fear those people who can kill our body, this physical body. Why? Because this is not our body. This is not our rest anyway. This is not our final form. This body right now that we have that's flesh and earth is a jail sentence. That's how you got to look at it. This is a jail sentence for us to get our minds right and to come back to the laws of God. That's how you got to look at this life. And when you look at it like that, you will be a pilgrim in this land. You're not going to get attached to anything because you know, like we read earlier in 2 Ezra 16, they're going to come and take these things from us. So when you look at it like that, you're not worried about what's going on in his life because only thing you're worried about is how to please the Lord because he's the only one that can kill body and soul. All right, get that in Isaiah 54 and 17. Another one I forgot to touch on was the chemtrails. All right, and you wonder why our people are sick all the time, why we're leading in certain sicknesses, because they are doing these things as a part of chemical warfare. We ain't got to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
Read that.
Isaiah 54 and 16.
17.
17, sorry. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper.
And that's the real understanding of this verse, because they say this a lot in Christianity, But what the Bible is really talking about, read verse 16.
Verse 16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy.
Read.
No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper.
God said none of these weapons that's formed is going to prosper against us. None of these types of warfare that we went over today in this class that's formed against us is going to prosper. Why? Because if you are keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments, you will have protection in this life. God will look out for you. Now, some of us are going to die in this physical form, but we're going to rise again with the Father. And we're going to touch on that. All right, get Psalms 91. Start at verse 1. How are we going to get that protection? Let's read about it. Psalms chapter 91 and verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 91 and verse 1.
Come on.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High.
What's the secret place of the Most High? This Bible. Because what's in this Bible is not revealed to everybody. It's only revealed to those who are keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. Read.
Shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Meaning his protection. You're going to abide under the protection of the Almighty God. Read.
I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust.
We're not going to have to rely on none of this misinformation that they pushing in the news, none of these false religions. Why? Because we trust in the one true God. We trust in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Israelites. That's the God we trust in. Read.
Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
It says the snare of the fowler, all these different types of warfare that he brings against us. And it says the noise of the pestilence, meaning the chemical warfare that they have against the children of Israel. Read.
He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust.
Read.
His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
When you keeping God's commandments, you're not going to be afraid of none of these weapons. They're not going to prosper against you. Read.
Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
When it says walk in darkness, meaning the stuff they try to do in secret. The things they try to do in secret, you don't have to worry about that because God's going to protect those who are keeping his commandments and have faith in his son, Jesus the Christ. Read.
1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand. But it shall not come nigh thee.
It's not going to come nigh to you. That arrow that's flying, that's destroying, it's not going to come nigh unto you. Read.
Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, and see the reward of the wicked.
It says, only with your eyes will you behold. You're going to see this thing, but it's not going to affect you if you are keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments. All right, go to 1 Peter 1. Let's read 3 through 5. This is the hope and the comfort that comes in the scriptures. Because in this time, if you are not girded in these scriptures, this type of stuff can scare you, can bring fear in you. But if you have faith in the Son, Jesus Christ, and you keep his commandments, this stuff is, the word of God is going to be your comfort in this time. Read.
1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 3.
Come on.
Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, which according to his abundant mercy hath begotten us again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead.
It said begotten us to a lively hope because we don't fear these things. We don't fear these things. We have faith in our Lord, and that puts a lively spirit because wisdom is a lively spirit. Read.
To an inheritance incorruptible.
Inheritance incorruptible, meaning we have an inheritance waiting on us that these weapons that this man has created will not be able to affect. Read.
And undefiled, and that fadeth not away, reserved in heaven for you.
We have a body that's reserved in heaven for us. Our forefathers knew this. It's time for us to wake up and realize none of these things that this man has created for evil against us is going to prosper. If you are doing what the Lord commands you to do, you don't have to have fear because you're dwelling in the secret place of the Lord. He's going to protect you. All right, get Ephesians 6. Ephesians 6 and 10. This has to be our mindset right now. It's not to pick up guns. It's not to pick up arms. No, our mindset has to be to wait on the Lord, to trust in him and keep his commandments. Read that.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10.
Come on.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Where does that start? First and foremost, in your mind. Because the Bible says, as a man think, so is he. So if you are strong, you're girding up yourselves in the law, statutes, and commandments, nothing's going to be able to prosper against you. Read.
Put on the whole armor of God.
Come on.
That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
The Bible tells us we have to put on the whole armor. Why? Because we are at war. We are at war. We don't war physically, but Esau is warring physically and psychologically against us. It's not our job to pick up arms. It's not our job to try to fight back this man with weapons. Our job is to put on the whole armor of God. And what that entails, the commandments, the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the only way we'll be protected against everything this man is bringing against us. Read.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
We wrestle against stuff that we don't even realize we're wrestling against. Our people in the world that sleep, they don't realize what is wrestling against us. And we don't have power to wrestle against these principalities, these rulers in dark places. Read.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Come on.
Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day.
That's what God commanded us to do. Take on the whole armor so we can withstand that evil day. All right, last scripture. Get 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Let's read verse 51. Let's start at 51.
1 Corinthians 15 and 51.
Come on.
Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed.
It said, God said, Christ through Paul said, he going to show us a mystery. Not all of us is going to sleep, but we all shall be changed. What does that mean? When this destruction comes, we're not going to all be physically put to death, but we all will be changed. Read.
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye.
When Christ comes back, he's going to change us in a twinkling of an eye. Read.
At the last trump.
Come on.
For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible.
Raised incorruptible, meaning these weapons, they won't work against us. These weapons will not prosper. Read.
And we shall be changed.
We are going to be changed into that immortal form. We are going to be changed into our God bodies. What Peter said he saw was waiting on him. Read.
For this corruptible must put on incorruption.
Come on.
And this mortal must put on immortality.
What does immortality mean? We live forever. Nothing is going to prosper against us when we put on immortality because of our faith, because we put on the whole armor of God, because we dwelled in the secret place of the Most High. Read.
So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory.
Death is swallowed in victory. We won't die anymore. We won't have to worry about these types of warfare anymore. Read.
O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin.
The sting of death is sin. When do we feel that sting? When we are sinning. When we are going against the law, statutes, and commandments. Read.
And the strength of sin is the law.
Come on.
But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ.
The Lord already gave us the victory, so we don't have to fear these things. It's already written that we are going to get the kingdom. It's up to you to follow the steps that you need to make it there, for that to come true about you. Read.
Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord.
It says, be steadfast and unmovable, always in the work of the Lord. Don't be fed being idle. Don't fall for these different types of warfare, the propaganda telling you you're nothing in this world, telling you that if you stand up for your people, you are going to get killed. Don't worry about that stuff, because God said you already won. you have to be steadfast in that thing. Believe who you are. Believe that you are an Israelite and that Jesus Christ is coming to save you. And when you believe that, you're going to keep his commandments and you're going to have faith in his son, Jesus Christ. All right? So with that, hey, listen, stay strong in the Lord. All right? With that, I say shalom.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.